Today's question is a bit blunt, but useful. Why do some people say gay people sound like that? Is there a gay voice? Short answer: there are patterns researchers can measure, but they're statistical, not destiny. Let's unpack why. First, the evidence. Linguists have a name for this sort of study: lavender linguistics. Over decades, researchers have found repeatable acoustic and pronunciation differences that, on average, let listeners guess a speaker's sexual orientation better than chance. That doesn't mean every gay person sounds the same, it just means that across groups small, reliable differences show up. What are those differences? Commonly observed features include a slightly higher pitch or wider pitch range, more pitch modulation, a breathier or less breathy voice depending on study, and differences in sibilant sounds, the S we all say. Some studies also find vowel shifts and more careful or hyper-articulated pronunciation in certain contexts. Important caveat: none of these features is universal or diagnostic by itself. So why do these patterns exist? There are no simple single-gene gay voice mechanisms. Instead, linguists point to social and cultural explanations. Language is partly identity performance. People adopt sounds that signal group membership, personality, or stance. If a social group values a certain style, speakers who identify with that group or want to signal membership will often pick up those features. This is how accents, slang, and even fashion spread. There's also development and socialization. Some studies suggest boys who deviate from gender-typical play sometimes adopt speech features associated with femininity or non-masculinity. And those speech habits can stick and be amplified in social settings. Over time, patterns that start in small social circles can become recognizable cues to listeners. The chain is social, not genetic. Perception matters a lot. Human listeners are pattern hunters and stereotype machines. When we expect someone to be gay or straight, we weigh certain acoustic cues more heavily. Experiments show people use those cues to build meaning in real time, sometimes even before they hear the full sentence. Small speech cues look much bigger than they really are. Culture and media also amplify the effect. Movies, TV, and comedy have a long history of caricaturing a gay voice. Those caricatures provide templates that both listeners and speakers may pick up. So what starts as a few real-world tendencies gets exaggerated in popular culture, which then feeds back into perception and performance. Now, the important ethical bit. Treating speech as a truth serum is dangerous, because these cues are probabilistic. Using someone's voice to out them or to discriminate is unreliable and harmful. Stereotypes can lead to stigma and even self-contempt, which is one reason some people pursue voice therapy and why others reclaim and celebrate their speech style. Also, remember variation across cultures. The sounds that mark gay in one language don't necessarily carry over to another. Different communities pick different markers. So if you travel, don't expect the same gay voice everywhere and don't assume identity from a sound alone. Bottom line, yes, there are measurable speech patterns that many listeners associate with being gay. But they're statistical tendencies created and maintained by culture, social identity, and perception, not a biological stamp. Voices are choice, habit, and history all mixed together. So next time you hear someone and think they sound gay, pause and consider. You're hearing a cluster of social signals, not an identity certificate.